To another developing story this hour, and the global whistleblower group Global Leaks has released what appears to be a plan by the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, to destroy Qatar's economy and eventually steal the 2022 World Cup. Now, this plan was found, it seems, in the email account of Yusuf al-Otaiba. He is the UAE ambassador to the United States, and we've heard plenty of these leaks already. Global Leaks handed over the files to the online news outlet The Intercept. Now, we've got Ryan Grimm with us now, who is the DC bureau chief at The Intercept. Thank you for coming on in such short time as well. Tell us more about how all this unfolded for you.
Sure. I mean, we've been writing about Ambassador Otaiba for several years now. He's one of the most influential figures in Washington, D.C. About 6 months ago or so, his inbox was compromised by sources who wound up becoming connected with Global Leaks, and stunningly, he appears to have continued using that precise same inbox over the preceding 6 months, and as a result, apparently somebody still had access to it and was able to find a document. Global Leaks also has sources connected to the bank that was involved in preparing this. And so once they got information from the bank side, whistleblowers over the bank side, they were able to then cross-check it with the documents that were in Ambassador Otaiba's inbox.
Goodness me. Okay, so the issue of the World Cup. Now, it's not the first time, certainly, I've heard this idea that the UAE certainly didn't want Qatar to have the 22 World Cup, but this issue of the economy and trying to essentially bring down parts of the Qatari economy. Can you expand on that for us?
Right. So the plan is a fairly simple one. In the end, it's to take all of the existing bonds that the UAE and affiliated parties already own and put them in a kind of an offshore confidential vehicle, and then go about purchasing additional Qatari debt, and then buy credit default swaps against that debt, so that when the debt goes down in value, the credit default swaps rise. It's like buying an insurance. It's like buying insurance. You might remember this from the movie and the book called The Big Short. This is kind of a version of The Big Short. They would then take these bonds, according to the plan, and swap them back and forth among parties who, from the outside, look like they're independent, but are actually the same people. It's like me and you trading a bond back and forth, and that creates an illusion of volatility. And with people aware that there's this political crisis going on, then the plan is they see this enhanced volatility, and traders start to panic and say, oh my God, something must be going on here. We need to sell our own Qatari debt, which drives the price down further. That rises, that increases the price of the CDS, which then puts pressure on the currency, the Qatari currency, which requires Qatar then to bring in dollars to prop up its currency. And all of this creates a sense of crisis, which then the UAE would use to say, well, the country's in crisis, it ought to at least be sharing the World Cup with the rest of the GCC countries.
Do the emails, we talk about a plan, does it suggest the plan was in motion, or it was a pipe dream, or was there any sort of time indications given there?
If the plan were going to be effected, it would happen before the country's next bond sale, which is coming up probably before the end of the year. If you look at the volatility in the currency markets, there does seem to be a tremendous amount of it. Disentangling that from the other pressure that Qatar is under, both as a result of the blockade and not doing business with not allowing Qatar businesses to do business in UAE, et cetera. It's hard to disentangle how much of this volatility and this craziness in the markets is from that, or how much is it from the plan that might have been put into effect. We don't know. That's something that's unknowable to us at the moment, whether this plan has actually been put into effect. The big problem for the plan, which the document itself acknowledges, is that the Qatari debt market is very illiquid. It's very hard to buy and sell these products. It's not like the U.S. Treasury market where you can easily move them back and forth.
Right.
And so as they drive the prices down, then they're stuck holding a huge amount of debt that they have massively devalued. So it would cost them hundreds of millions of dollars because the insurance that they would buy off would not make up for the amount that they would end up losing on holding this debt that they have now artificially suppressed.
Ryan Grimm from The Intercept, very interesting talking to you, and we thank you for coming on the News Grid. Much appreciated.
You got it.